Hi everyone, long time no see. Today we're going to be talking about the Romeo M17 pistol red dot. I recently picked this up with Black Friday deals. Euro Optic and Scope List have them listed for 20% off. Retail, they usually go for $800, or I guess the regular price. But for Black Friday, they have it for 20% off at $640. I waited for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. That was the best deal that I could get, so I decided to pick it up. Now, I already unboxed it. I don't really believe in unboxing videos because I don't really know what's in the box either, and it's probably more useful for me to look through it and see what's in it and not do anything stupid on camera. So I've already actually unboxed it and it's right over there. I was a little scared at first because I thought that the optic was the newer black one and not in the Coyote tan, but this is just a cover for the optic. So after I took that off, I was like, oh, okay, we're okay. Just to look at the box, this is something that's really important. You'll see this on all the websites that you're gonna buy it on. SIG makes a commemorative edition and a military edition. It's kind of like I think they're contract overruns. And on the left over here, we have a commercial pistol. Now, when I bought the commercial pistol, I did not know that they were different. And had I known, I probably wouldn't have bought it. The commercial version, the main difference is the coating, at least in my two samples, they're very different. The rear mounting plate is also different on the commercial version versus the military version, and I think the springs are different. I think the military version has a stronger spring, allowing it to use plus P ammunition. Most people don't shoot plus P, so the commercial version has a slightly weaker spring. Now, on the commercial one, you cannot mount the Romeo M17. You can mount I think it's the Delta Point, the Leopold Delta Point Pro. I don't actually know the name of my pistol red dots, but it cannot mount the Romeo M17 unless you get it specially modified by some competent gunsmiths that know how to do that sort of thing. Now, if I were to buy a pistol and I wanted the Romeo M17, I would opt to try to get one of these contract overruns, or you can get Sig Sauer's M17X. It won't be exactly like a military pistol. It has a slightly different lower. The lower is like an upgraded kind of lower grip module, but you can buy a new grip module for fairly cheap. And I think maybe some of the internals are different. They might have a flat trigger or something like that. But I see those for about $1,400. I think I saw one on sale for $1,200. So it's probably a better deal to get the slide that already allows you to mount the Romeo M17 instead of getting a gunsmith to basically mill out your slide to accept it. And there's probably going to be some missing finish where they actually do mill it as well. So don't buy it unless you have a commercial one. Then maybe you could actually get it. You could get it modified instead of trying to go and buy a new pistol. Okay, so you see here that I've already disassembled this slide. It shows in the manual how to do that. All right, what you're gonna do, disassemble your gun, take the barrel and the recoil spring out. Then what you're going to want to do is remove the plunger that holds the extractor spring, and know that this has a torque T15. It's not actually threaded, but you do need to spin it a little bit to get the slide plate off. Once you get the slide plate off, you can take out your striker assembly, and then they tell you to take out the, oh, sorry, a little fuzz. They actually tell you to take out the extractor. I'm not sure if you actually need to do that, but if all the parts kind of come out with it, oh, there's a part under here. The extractor spring and this little plunger, if all those things kind of come out, then just take it out. You can put it back in. And then you're going to want to retain your rear sight. So one of the nice things about this sight, here, let's actually take it out, is it sits very, very low on the gun. It's super thin. Ooh, I left the sight on. Here, I'm going to turn this off, actually. There we go. It mounts really low, and you can actually co-witness the sights. So you're going to want to retain the rear sight from here. Okay? And the way this mounts is you'll see this thin portion. This rear sight will sit right there. The slide will be here. Essentially, you're using a screw to sandwich the rear sight and the slide to squish down the sight, right? It's pretty thin over here, but there's also other things that are kind of giving it strength. There's a little notch that is engaged in the slide, and there's these two little recoil nubs on the bottom. The last thing that you need to know, and part of the reason why I unboxed things and kind of read through things beforehand, was that you get there is a screw that holds the rear sight, the original rear sight. And SIG will provide another T15 Torx head screw in the package. And it seemingly looks the same, but in their instructions, they tell you to not reuse the rear sight plate screw, to use the new one. They look identical to me, but they tell you not to use it, so we're going to follow the instructions. When we use that screw, we've degreased everything. I just used some rubbing alcohol. We're going to use some Loctite 271. That's the red Loctite. And I'm always a little hesitant using red Loctite instead of blue Loctite because you do need heat to remove it. But there's really no reason to remove this sight after installing it. And if we do want to remove it, it is a little scary to use heat near especially like a tritium sight, because you don't want the tritium vials to break. But I've read that you could just take a soldering iron, put it on the screw, and that should heat it up enough. Okay, so we're gonna zoom in a little bit more, and we're just gonna show you how to install this. So stay tuned. Here's our screw. It's been degreasing in this rubbing alcohol cap, but we'll take it out for now. And then we're gonna wanna take our sight, and we'll remove it from this sight protector, which is nice that they give that to you. Okay. We've got the slide. You're gonna wanna make sure that the loaded chamber indicator is installed correctly. You're gonna wanna take this little nub right here, right? And it's gonna engage underneath this recess, or in this recess, okay? And then you're gonna wanna move things around enough until the recoil lugs engage into the slide holes, all right? So there's two little nubs on the bottom of this sight, and now they're engaged on the slide, and it's pretty sturdy, right? So that's where a lot of the retention is occurring on this, that's where a lot of the strength is in this mounting system, is that there's these two nubs that kind of engage into the slide. Okay, so it's very important that we take the rear sight, which the threads have been they've been degreased already, and we're gonna want to install it the right way. There's only one way to install it, just like that. Okay, now let's put this down right here. Okay, so we're gonna take this screw, right, and we're gonna wanna put that into the slide. So I got my fix-it sticks right here with a T15 Torx head screw, and then here's the Loctite. Okay, so we're gonna take the Loctite. Don't actually know. I've never used something like this before. Do you just break it off? I think we just break it off. Ooh, it's going. Okay, so we're only going to just use a small amount of this. Let's put it on the Torx head screw so we don't get Loctite on our fingers. Oh, it's dripping. All right, I think a dab will do ya here. All right, don't make fun of me. Okay, there we go. We got a little red Loctite on there. Okay, we're gonna try to do this in camera, but we'll see if it works. We're gonna put it in here and we're gonna wanna not get it all over the place. So I'm gonna be very careful. And if you don't see it, I'm sorry. All right, there we go. We got it in without making a huge mess. We're gonna wanna spin this backwards until we feel a click. There we do, felt the click. Now we're gonna want to torque this on. Okay, I still feel it's a little loose. All right, and we're just gonna finger tight it. Okay, so let's clean up anything if we didn't. No, I don't see any red Loctite where it shouldn't be. Looks like we're good. Okay, I'm gonna put the sight protector back on. Okay, so now I'm gonna get my fix-it-stick torque indicator. Ooh, that Loctite smells bad. We're gonna put that in there, and we're gonna wanna screw it until it's 40. So in between the 35 and 45 mark. Okay, now you're not gonna see this exactly, but the way this works is that this little indicator moves as you put more torque on it, right? And I wanna make sure that I get this on at 40, so in order to do that, you're not gonna exactly see it, but just know that that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, so I'm putting it in. Let's see what we torqued it to originally. Okay, you know what? You might be able to see. Okay, so here we go. So this is 35. There we go. Oh, 40. Call that good. And now we got this installed. Now it says last is that you need to let this cure for 24 hours before you start shooting it. So anyone who's super eager to do it, you gotta wait just a little bit. Okay. Let me make sure that this Loctite's not being gross. Okay, so now let's reinstall everything and we'll just see what it looks like. We'll put our striker assembly back in the gun. Then we will put the extractor back in. We're going to put it in the right way. Okay. Then this, I don't know what this pin for the extractor, it needs to have the claw kind of going on the inside, and this little part here is going to engage in on the extractor. So you're going to make sure you put that in right, and you're going to see it pop in right here, and it should kind of click. There we go. So there we see that part in there, and it's in the correct way. This differs a little bit from the commercial version. Here, I'm gonna put this back on so I don't get my stupid fingerprints on here. We're gonna wanna push in the striker assembly slightly. There we go. Then you wanna push in this just slightly. And then it's gonna require, I don't actually know how it works. I just kind of spin it a little bit. Oh, let me get my T15. What I do, I put my T15 hex screw in there, I push it in. Takes a little bit of finagling. believe it needs to be spun a certain... There we go. And then now it's going to be sticking out a little awkwardly, so you're going to want to push it in, and then you're going to want to screw it in. There it goes, and it kind of sets itself. All right, put our barrel back in the gun, recoil rod like so. Here's our frame. Okay, I like to put a magazine in the gun, obviously an empty magazine. Oh, sorry, you can't do that yet. Wait, what you want to do, lock the slide back. I forgot, you can't put the magazine in yet. You gotta seat some things. So what I do is rack the slide. There we go. I don't like to put the magazine because that doesn't work. Oh, wow, what a nice sight picture. There we go. So we've got everything installed, and we're not going to want to shoot this gun for at least one day. So here you can see how low this red dot sits. You can co-witness your sight. We'll show you turning it on, but I'll try to take a picture of this maybe with my camera. One, two, there we go. It'll come with it's right now it's in the circle dot configuration. You hold brightness down for 1 second. You will change the reticle. Come on, am I pressing it? There we go. So here's just a dot. If I hold it again, here's just the circle with no dot. Circle with the dot. And in the big circle, there is a slight notch on at the 6 o'clock position. That is normal. I initially looked at it, I was like, that does not look like it should. But if you look at the reticle picture in the manual, that's what it's supposed to look like. So that's that. That's how you put this thing on. In this case, I think you do need to read the manual. You want to make sure, one, you don't have a commercial M17. You've got the new M17. Two, you're going to want to make sure to use the screw that they provide. And three, you're going to want to use that red Loctite. And you're going to want a torque wrench to get it on there exactly right. There's not a lot of threads on this rear sight. You know, the rear sight kind of, it looks like it was a mimmed part. There's not a lot of threads holding it on. So I think the red Loctite is really important, and the torque spec is really important. Last thing, one thing that I heard, I just want to mention this. I emailed Sig Sauer when I had this gun, and it kind of led me to buying the Contract Overrun pistol. But I asked them how I could get the Romeo M17. I was very interested in the optic, but I didn't want to buy a whole new gun. Well, I did have to actually buy one. But what I wanted to do was just to buy a slide with the red dot. And one reason I also wanted the slide was when I bought this, I was a little bit sad that, yes, it says M17, but the SIG P320, it's just different markings. I wanted the one with the real markings. Yes, the serial number is a little bit different on the contract overruns and the commercial ones. I don't really care about the serial numbers, but I do want to have the same markings and things like that. SIG told me that they actually don't sell the slide by itself, and I was actually very tempted into buying one of those M17Xs, taking the slide off and putting it on this pistol. But thankfully, I found this contract overrun for not an exorbitant price. Okay, so SIG told me that they're not actually going to sell the slides separately. What they're going to do, and I think what they're taking time to do, is to modify the M17 to work with the commercial slide. Now, that's what they told me. I don't know if that's what they're going to end up doing. It seems kind of weird to do that. Like, why don't they just give us the military slides instead of this? Who knows? SIG always is doing, they're doing SIG things. hope if you're interested in the M17, hope you can actually pick up one of these contract overruns. You could also get the M18, and I haven't used a red dot sight on a pistol yet. It does take some getting used to, but I'm hoping to update you on what I think about it in the future. All right, take care. Thanks for watching.